Good morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are in this fair world. Welcome to the H&K Races War, hosted to you by the JSL stream. My name is Volticus. I'll be bringing you the action tonight of this fair event that we're going to be having on, put on by our French crew, in charge by Miguel. And to kick things off tonight, we're going to be starting with a interview with the team captains. So tonight we're going to have three teams keep competing against each other in five. I can't really do maths, so each team, which is represented by each race, so we've got Terrans, Zerg, and Protosses, all facing off against each other team in best of sevens, all kills. Each players will face off against match. If they win the match, they stay on. The losing player is eliminated. This carries on until one team loses all their players, and they can choose any team member to be revived, and they can fight again. So we're going to quickly jump right into the interviews with the French guys. So bear with me one moment, guys.
Oh, there is...
Volticus is here.
Volticus is in the stream. Oh, he's mute. Oh, I just had you...
Muted.
Modifier ça. I just had you the permission, Volticus.
They've muted me.
Weird. Ok.
Il peut pas parler. Il veut pas ou il ne peut pas parler?
You can now. You can talk now, I think.
Can't you?
Your microphone is... off.
Mute.
Off.
Problems. T'es sûr? T'es sûr il peut parler? Could you just try to talk?
Leave the... and please come again.
This is better. Hello there! Okay. Oh, there we go.
I tell to the captain to join. Okay, captain, can you join?
J'ai peut-être coupé la musique pendant les interviews.
Yeah.
Alors je vais le mettre à 1.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Sorry.
It's no worries at all.
Just forgot to give you and captain's right to talk. It's a bit of problem. And Phoenix, okay. Right now, no problem. Player can... I can join the French channel. Oh! Now they can. Now you can still... Okay, how are you?
I did. What are you saying?
Phoenix has stage fright.
Okay.
I was waiting for my opportunity. I just need to say, the Protoss team are ready. We've never been more ready in our entire lives. We are so ready for this. This is what we were born for. We were born to we were born for the Zerg tiers, for the Terran tiers, and we are willing to take them.
You have to tell this to the Zerg players.
Captain.
Oh my god, I didn't realize the Zerg captain wasn't here. It's fine. I've got a lot of big talk.
Alright then.
Hello guys.
Oh, hello. You have the same French accent as us, it's great.
Non, Namari qui est Booby ou Phoenix du coup, je sais pas.
Namari is Booby and
the French captain.
How are you, all of you guys? Are you excited for this great tournament?
Yes, of course we are.
Yeah, very excited to be here.
Okay, Namari, do you think Protoss team or Zerg team will win this match?
Which question?
And Phoenix Steel, do you think Namari is right and Zerg team will win this match?
I don't think there's any chance of that. I think it could be a very quick. Maybe they'll take a map here or there. But we have the power of Protoss. I mean, can you argue with the power of Protoss?
Do you think Phoenix Steers, your PvT will be a easier match or more difficult than the PvZ?
Yeah, it'd probably be a bit more difficult just because two of us struggle a bit more against Terran. Like we do feel a lot more comfortable against Zerg players.
Okay.
But yeah, we want to just get through this game, win this game, and see what we can come up for the Terran team later.
Okay, Namarie, same question. What do you think about that? What will be your easier match against Terran or against Protoss?
I think I'm pretty confident against Protoss, but it's not my best matchup. In fact, we have two players that are really comfortable with Protoss, specifically Solar.
Okay, I'm very excited. Voltacus, have you any question?
So, Valtacus,
Ah!
which will be the winner for you?
Terran, easily Terran. This you're asking me a wholly rigged question here.
No, it's his
In this match, Voltacus, in this match, TVP, that team, what will be the winner team?
Then again, I've got to side with my mate. Phoenix Tears is a great captain. I know he's working alongside Sykes with the TOWAT team, the American War of Tears, that team league. But then the Terran, I've got to hold favour with the Terrans. True blood here. I can't let him down. But I'm gonna go with Phoenix Tears because I know he'll kill me in the PMs.
You say Psionic, you are saying Psionic Aftermath is the best team ever.
No, Team Lit. Go lost in translation. Yeah, no, Sykes easy, number one.
Okay. Any question, Voltacus, for our two captains?
Yeah, so we also have the Zerg captain here. So, how much balance winding do you expect from the Terran team? From a scale of every half a minute in every game to maybe one comment at the end of the final game saying Zerg OP, innovation style.
I don't know, in fact.
You don't know, we'll only have to find out.
It comes down for us how much Protoss BS can we throw at them, and if they can hold it. If they can't hold the Protoss BS we have in store for them, then we might have a constant balance one in the chat for the rest of the evening. For the rest for any race wars we have in the future.
So you're saying you have a lot of bullshit lined up then?
Yeah. We
Any sneak peeks on what it could be? Without revealing too much.
No. All I'll say is we have the DT Queen on our team.
Oh no.
Okay, then I have a last question, of course, maybe the more important. Namarie, who will be your first player in Zerg team?
It will be Solar against Protoss.
Solar, okay. And same question for you, Phoenix Tears. Who will be the first Protoss player? Say it's Xenodactyl. I want to see Xenodactyl right now because I love this player. No, who will be?
He's crazy player.
It's gonna be Xeno. It's gonna be Xenodactyl.
Yeah!
So you've changed your mind on the spot just to put Xeno in to please the French casters, haven't you?
No. If it was Zabubi, then it was gonna be me on backwater. Because it wasn't, we're gonna send out Xeno first.
I want to see him because yesterday it was just some game in PvP. I want to see what he will do in PvZ. Thanks a lot, guys, and good luck in this. Oh, sorry, Ravador.
I got a last question. Could you eventually get us a lot of fun game and the best show ever played?
Proxy Hatch is the best, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you, Namarie. Okay, thank you. Good luck for this best of 7 games of PvZ. Thank you a lot, guys, and GL.
Good luck, have fun.
Good luck, have fun for all of you. See you soon.
Good luck, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Enjoy the tournament.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Right, and that concludes the interview. We had Phoenix Tears, the Protoss captain, and who do we have for the Zerg captain? It was... I think it was Zabubi is the captain there. His Discord name's a little different. I believe it was Zabubi in the chat there. But we didn't have the Terran captain, Phoenix. We didn't have him in the chat. We didn't get his thoughts and opinions, but that won't matter. He'll have to show us on the battlefield as we will start to get into our first lobby of the night. How you guys all doing in the chat? Please let me know if everything's alright, if the stream's going alright, all looking good. And if you're looking for some ZVP shenanigans, because it will be ZVP, a best of 7 all kill first. The winner either Protoss or Zerg, will be staying on to a final match, whereas the loser will be facing off Terran in the next match, and then there'll be the ZVP finals as well. At least I think so. That's what my head's trying to tell me, at least. I'm not 100% sure if that is correct. So we got a pretty good turnout in the chat today. Poison Phoenix, Lord of Terrans, Knots, and Piotr, who I still can't pronounce your name. You've got to tell me in the chat how to actually say your name. So we are getting ourselves into the lobby here. So it would be Solar versus Xenodactyl on the first game of Backwater LE. I am hyped. Are you guys hyped? So then I have... Oh, let's see if I can show you real quick. I need to get these sources sorted out so I can actually show you what's actually happening in terms of games, the results that are happening. Bear with me one moment, guys. This is why I'd love to have a co-caster right now. Soon I shall have this ready for you, do not worry, guys. So this will be our bracket right here. So we'll have game 1, which will be on Backwater, which will be Solar versus Xenodactyl. And we will be moving to the American server for this really quickly. While we get it set up. So what are your guys' predictions in the chat? You've seen the qualifiers. We've seen Solar and Xenodactyl play last night. And what do you think is going to be the outcome of our first match? So we get ourselves hopefully into the lobby real soon. Volticus, you should have played, you nincompoop. I should have played. I wanted to play, but, you know, thing happens. Would have been a good player in this all kill. It would have been good. I played very, very well last night in the Platinum Diamonds. Came second. Then I made a blunder and died to Daunted. Which is a shame, but well played to him. All the same. So our players are ready. Let's get ourselves set up here as we get ourselves into the first game of the day 2 of the HK Race War, hosted here on JSL. So this will be our first casted match of a non-mirror matchup this tournament. And I'm just quite looking forward to this because PvP is kind of a pain. So is EVZ, but TVT I quite enjoy. So let's get ourselves all set up here. And we can get ourselves on the way with the very first match here. Let's get this music off, get ourselves in-game, beautiful, wonderful. So here we are, spawning to game number 1 of the best of 7 series between Team Zerg and Team Protoss. And representing Team Zerg spawning in the top left-hand corner, is the pink Zerg. He is Solar. Going for some pool first shenanigans here. Against his opponent, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, representing Team Protoss and Psionic Aftermath, he is Xenodactyl. He's going to be going for a nice wall off at the very front here. Super standard stuff, stopping those very early Ling attacks, but maybe not as early as what Solar has planned with this super early spawning pool. He's going to be saving up his lava very, very soon for some Lings to run out. However, with this hatchery coming down, he may have different plans. The spawning pool is going to be scouted out. And no Lings being created with a spawning pool this early. I believe it may have been a 16 pool. I believe I saw. However, I'm not 100% sure. It could have even been 18 pool. But Zerg openers versus Protoss are not my strong suit. Someone in the chat will have to tell me. We do have a probe versus drone chase about. We always know the probes are going to win because of that shield recharge. God damn pesky probes. However, our first Lings are moving out across the map here, making their way downtown, moving fast. But in time, we have the wall at double gate here. Not quite going to be utilized, but it's going to be enough there to create a full wall so that Lings, these early Lings that are making their way, cannot do any damage whatsoever. Shield battery even coming down as well. I believe it might just be over preparation because now he's not quite got enough for that pylon. He was a little bit late. And Solar's going to start chipping away at this cybercore. He's going to try and get as much annoyance, a little bit of damage done to the side. It definitely won't kill. Not the shield battery about. And with an adept finishing up now, definitely won't get too much damage done. A little bit of interesting control here by Xenodactyl. Not quite being able to shoo away those Lings in time, as it does lose all of its shields. Might be an idea to recharge the shield, cybercore shields with the shield battery. However, Xenodactyl has other plans. The Solo does pull away his Lings here. He's done what little damage he can. He's scouted out what are the opening units from Xenodactyl. There's nothing cheesy. There's nothing super aggressive going on here. So he knows it's safe. He knows it's fine. Stalker up on the high ground here, scouting out any Dropper Lords. The notorious Dropper Lords in this matchup right now. There is just so many Dropper Lords going on. However, with the link speed finishing up now, we may very well see a drop lord as one is morphing in out of sight of this stalker, I believe. Yeah, and he's going to make his way just into the corner, and he sees the drop lord be completed there. The game is up. I don't think he'll get anything done, not with this stalker about. Good defense here by Xenodactyl, but it looks like Solo's going to go for it anyway. There's a bit of a push in the front, and this just is not going to work. The Zealot, so tanky. The shield battery able to keep him away, and a nice force field keeping the links off the cybercore for as long as possible. I feel like this drop lord might just be a little bit of a doomed effort here against this stalker, but it did drop out of sight here, and he's not going to focus down the stalker. This could indeed be a problem here for Xenodactyl if he's not careful, losing the stalker even. This is proving to be a terrible situation here for Xenodactyl. He's got no units on the front line here. He's resorting to have to use probes here. Although with the shield battery, he won't be losing anything there. But the full scout off will be given right here. And the shield battery is getting low on shield here. Oh, that one Ling doing God's work there, cutting down the shield battery energy there. And this Zealot is starting to run out of life very, very quickly. More Zealots being warped in, and Adept as well. Second Adept too. Gonna try and clean this up, and I think he will just do it here. Void Ray not joining the fray as these Lings hopelessly try and attack these buildings here, trying to chip away at what damage they can do. They do indeed break through for the force field, correcting on that error, but a Zealot, an Adept, needs to block off that hole as soon as possible. Pulsar Beam needs to go down on these Lings, clean them up. And just a close hold there by Xenodactyl. And at home, Solar is just building more and more Lings. A Baneling nest finished up. However, I don't think he's planning to go for a bust anytime soon. Doesn't quite have the economy for it, and his drones are only equal with Xenodactyl. Yeah, I'm going to see a little bit of a move out here by Xenodactyl. A little bit of a rash decision, I think, since there's not really much of an escape option for these Adepts. They can easily get surrounded by these so many Lings here, and all of a sudden he's lost all these Adepts for no good reason. Meantime, we are going to be seeing a lair coming down in this third base position, out of sight of Xenodactyl. He's not going to be scouting that location anytime soon, and so he's going to get to his high attack units quite quickly here without Xenodactyl being able to get the scouts off. Banelings, all the Adepts murdered there for absolute nothing. I don't even think he killed any Lings there at all. Just a worthless trade for those Adepts. Back home we do have... I see what... It was really confusing because there's no animation in the Stargate. Really confused, but it turns out it's supply block, so it's not actually building anything. But we are going to be seeing a third base coming down for Xenodactyl. He's going to want to get into that mid to late game composition as soon as possible, but he's only equal in worker supply here, and he's going up to 3 base, and he can't really saturate too well right now. Solar making no real aggressive moves, spreading out the last of his overlords across the map, having a look if there's indeed a third base coming down. A Void Ray coming out to try and scout, kill off any overlords that might come out. And he's going to find a fortunate timing here, catching on this overlord. Never mind, actually, the overlord gets away. And we do have a couple of Lings moving out, seeing what damage they can get done here. Or at least a little bit of scout, but they're going to get absolutely nothing done with that stasis ward down. Going to attack straight at the front. Nothing being gained by that. Both players opting just to macro up for now. We have Lurker Den coming out and a Robo Facility. Both players choosing their attacks here. I believe we might be seeing some heavy charge lot play with possibly some warp prism pay, but I get the feeling if he scouts out this lurker down that is about to finish up here, he will know to go immortals. They are such a strong counter to that lurker play. And the Dark Shrine down as well. Xenodactyl being one to mix things up in all of his games here, from cannon rushes to DT proxies, but instead he's going to go for the in-base Dark Shrine. Pretty easy thing to scout here, and I think this is going to cause absolute havoc if Solar is not ready for this. Oracle going to get not even a single Hydra kill yet. Cut down there. Cut down from the sky. Solar and Xeno just both very stagnant on their own front, staying at home, trying to macro up, getting to those big armies, and Xeno floating quite a bit here. Not quite able to keep up with the income that he has right now. Instead, he's probably going to be spending all of that money on the DTs that he will be making very shortly now that the Dark Shrine is finishing up. Charge also finishing up here. Solar opting to go for a very, very passive play here. He doesn't quite know what his opponent is doing right now, which is a problem. If he had known what his opponent was doing, he could just drone up 80 drones, 5 bases, get going. That's not quite what he's opting to do. He's going for this bit of a lurker build up here with some stalkers. Ooh, lurkers down just in time for these zealots to move out. Finally, the Warp Prism moving out, dropping off a single DT that will hopefully start making work in this third base here. He knows that the layer is now there, and he's going to start making his way through. However, with Spore Crawler in position, he's going to be very easily scouted. Even with an Overseer with this army, this single DT is just going to get cleaned up with ease. Nothing of note really being taken down. More DTs, more Zealots are going to be joining this little force here. He's going to try and distract his opponent with this, what appears to be as little as possible. But Xeno is currently down 50 supply on his opponent's superior macro here, keeping his money at an all-time low, and is now moving out, looking to attack his opponent, possibly break down this wall with a Lurker Siege here. Void Ray goes down, the last air unit of Xenodactyl here. The last unit could possibly take down these lurkers from a distance. So they're starting to besiege the front lines here. Possibly going to be taking down the Cybercore here with no shield battery support. The Cybercore goes down, meaning no more strong units such as Adepts. Stalkers can be warped from those warp gates. Only Zealots from now on with their DTs as well. Oh man, and these Colossus actually stuck behind all the buildings, so they can't actually engage. Just making it in with a zigzag path, but it's too little, too late. The Hydras are jumping on top of all of the production here. Going to be taking down the Robo very, very quickly. Taking down the Lost Colossi. Last, final warping of Zealots is going to happen, but there's just so much Zerg. And I think soon we will be having Xeno tapping out. GG is called. Solar is going to be taking game number 1 in this best of 7 all-kill series against Team Zerg. Hot damn. So then I wonder who is going to be the next player joining us. So I believe we might be going back to... So I'm not actually sure who will be going on next here. So let's take a quick look. So Solar did take the game over Xenodactyl, and the game number 2 is going to be decided very, very quickly by our admins. And I've had... So I'm going to have very shortly Terran Lord be joining me for a bit of a cast here. He's been wanting to cast with me for quite a while, back since the Protoss Tempest days, and we've never actually had a chance because he's been at school and I was working. So he's finally convinced me to join... Oh, hold on one minute. Well, hello there. Lord, can you hear me, man?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
No, I can't. No, I can't hear you.
Oh, God.
Oh, God, no.
Like this. Not like this.
Not like this, no! Anyway, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good, I'm good.
Good-o, good-o. You sad that you couldn't compete, so you got your masters too soon?
Yeah. Are we heading to EU?
Yep, we're heading back onto EU for our next game.
I'll be able to cast for about an hour and a bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
To playing soon.
I believe we might have your brother actually playing in the next match. Phoenix Tears.
Ooh, that'll be interesting.
Should be very interesting indeed. And another... It's actually looking like Phoenix will be playing in that Protoss slot. Let me get you invited.
And the good thing is I just recently played a PvZ against him, so I kind of know what he's going to do. Fuck you, Blizzard.
It happens, man, it happens. Lobby joins are pretty annoying at times.
Yeah, they really are.
They revamped it, but... You enjoying your Masters border?
Yeah, I am.
Good, good. But both of us are Terrans, so what do you feel about the ZVP matchup?
I think it's pretty even, I would say. I think it's very difficult to call the lower levels because the way players do things when it gets to especially like the later stages of the game, it is very different to what the pros do.
Can be very different. As we saw in that last game, it was a bit slower pace than usual, a little less harass. There was not as much drop-a-lord play as we would have seen in higher level games, and it just culminated in a lurker push, which a lot of people have problems with.
I think it's just always very difficult to deal with those lurkers if your engagements aren't on point.
Yeah, especially defensive engagements against siege units such as lurkers and siege tanks. They're a bit harder to deal with unless you meet them out in the middle of the map, where you've got a little bit more room to engage them from all sides, because they have a very strong single attack sort of area of effect. Like lurkers, they attack in a straight line. Siege tanks are of a circular area of effect as well. So if you can't get the surround on them, they kind of do a lot of damage. And if you're chucked in a defensive choke point, it's not quite as nice.
It's always the one thing about Lurk is that they're very positional unit, even more so than tanks, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. So I wonder who is going to be the Zerg player here. As we know, Phoenix Tears is going to be from the Protoss, who needs to start bringing it back. And it looks like, well, of course, it'll be Solar Wanted because it's all kill. Taryn, how did you not pick up on this for me?
Because I completely forgot that it was all kill.
Useless.
Yes, I am.
So then, I'm wondering, when are we going to get Solar back in here for our second map, which will be on Acid Plant here. Bit of a more interesting map.
I just played Phoenix on this map as well.
In the ZVP?
Yeah.
Ah, so you know the full wells ins and outs of it in terms of ZVP then?
I mean, not really, but kind of.
Kind of.
I've costed a few PVCs on this map though, so I mean, obviously these two players are completely different for some of the top players, so they're obviously going to approach it differently to others, but I think it's very difficult to link drops on this map as opposed to somewhere where like Backwater, because the base isn't as big.
Mm-hmm. God, I'm getting emails from my train service if they dare. I thought they told me it was like a cancellation or something. I've got to get to LAN. I've got to get to LAN, man. They can't cancel my train ticket. I'll be stumped. Like, oh god, what will I do? No, it's just reminding me to collect my tickets. It's all good. It's all good. However, so Acid Plant, one of the larger maps, is a lot more spread out. There's a lot of choke points leading into each of the bases, isn't there?
I think it at some stage of the game it does suit Zerg more like the earlier to mid game, but once it gets to the mid to late game, it becomes very difficult to engage into the Protoss player, especially once they get either Storm or Colossus out.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a lot harder to get full-on surrounds on this map unless you catch them right in the middle of the map. But often you won't find that until the very late game, where you start taking the gold base, when you start taking the very middle expansions, which are very, very few. So, I wonder then, how long is it going to be for Solar to get in here?
I hope not too long.
There's only so much time I can listen to this wub step courtesy of Daunted.
Yeah, wub step.
The wub step. It's forever going to be called wub step now.
He literally sent me a message. He was like, I don't know what this wub step is, but it seems fun.
Seems fine.
I think we can say thankfully the Proxy Tempest was postponed for tonight, so I can actually cast with you for once.
I believe it is, yeah. I think Azilis did postpone it for tonight due to the lack of staff.
Yeah, I mean, like I could have been around like the first 45 minutes, but I wouldn't be there for the rest, and she'll be just left on her own, especially with Phoenix playing in the race war.
That's fair enough, yeah.
I don't know if you can tell, but my voice is a bit cracky.
You sound a bit tired, my friend.
No, it's just from so much casting. Like,
really? Then what made you want to join and cast with me? Was it just because you wanted the opportunity?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I can't fault you there, but it does looking like we will get Solar into this lobby very, very shortly. So both of our players are indeed ready. We will start getting ourselves into our second match of the day. The second game in the Zerg versus Protoss best of 7 or kill here. Solar being up 1-0 for Team Zerg. So what sort of the style player is Phoenix Tears in terms of PvC?
He's got quite a few styles that he uses. I've seen him use just the depth all in, charge lot all in. He can go extreme late game with the carriers, and even he can go Colossus or Storm. So I can't really predict exactly what he's going to do. Like, I have a feeling what style he's going to choose, but I can't say 100%.
Absolutely. So the man himself, your brother, would like to take it away and introduce him.
In the bottom right, in the orange, representing Team Protoss as well as Psionic Aftermath, he is Phoenix Tears.
And his opponent spawning in the top left-hand corner, up currently 1-0 in favor of Team Zerg. He is our pink Zerg. He is Solar. Oh, do you see what I see then, Lord?
I do.
Proxy
This is very
hatchery.
cheeky.
So what do we think is going to happen here? Are we going to be seeing some heavy roach timing here? Very early on?
I think it's very possible. But Phoenix does see it with his probe across the map. You see the lack of natural, and you'll see at the spawning point and it goes down now, so you can almost assume that it's a proxy hatch.
Maybe, but last game we did see a pool first out of Solar. It was very similar to this build. However, the pool timing is later. If Phoenix Tears is diligent and realizes that, which I think he might have done with his probe coming back, I think he does realize that the hatchery is missing.
Yeah.
And I believe that is a full wall off.
Yeah, I think so. And you also got the double gate, which is very important. I think if you get a couple zealots out early, then there's not really much that the Zerg can do to pressure until they get those roaches out.
I think so. And we do have the probe moving out towards that proxy location. The ruse is going to be up very shortly as the hatchery does finishing up. Link speed on the way. What are we going to be seeing building out of this hatchery very shortly? It's going to be lings. 6 lings are going to be heading out across the map very, very shortly. 2 spine crawlers are going to be created. 3 even in this proxy base as we have these drones sent out earlier.
And I think it's looking that Phoenix is going to go for a proxy pylon, which I think he can warp in at a later stage if he feels like he can spare those warp-ins to try and do some kind of damage across the map.
But if you were thinking of the most swift way to defeat this sort of a play, what would be your first idea?
Counterattacks, I think.
You think counterattacks?
Yeah, I think if you can do damage to the Zerg as well as force their attention away from the front, I mean, especially with those spine crawlers, if they're not really in position in time, then you can kind of catch them off guard just for those couple seconds and just delay it as much as possible.
So there's no real decisive game plan to nip this in the bud. There's no immortal rushes. There's nothing like that. It's just sit back at home, try and defend the best possible, and go for the counterattack.
Yeah, I think that's the best. It's not something I've seen a lot recently, so I can't really say 100%, but that's just my gut feel.
So we're going to have a very rapid creep expansion towards the base of Phoenix Tears here. More and more shield batteries coming down here. Going to be in the back lines, and we'll possibly nearly lose a queen there, taking it down to beyond half health. Quite worrying for Phoenix Tears as we see the spine crawlers stutter step their way forwards. Leapfrog, making 2 ranks there, able to shoot down the front line here. We have the Void Ray moving out as well. Might be takes pot shots from these queens here, but not before possibly taking down these spine crawlers here. Phoenix Tears just wants to break out, but I think Solar wants to break in as he gets the full Ling wraparound on these stalkers here. Most of Phoenix's army is coming down just dropping like flies here to these lanes, and this could very well be it here, as Phoenix has nothing left. The Void Ray loses its life here, and Phoenix is going for the last desperation, walling off the top of the ramp, buying time for as long as possible. And start rebuilding gateways, possibly a cybercore very shortly, but this lower level is completely lost. There is no saving it at the moment. Lings doing their best to barrage their way up the ramp. They've already broken through, and there's nothing here to defend. Pulling the probes the best he can, comes towards the shield battery, trying to take the healing from that, but there's just not enough time here for Phoenix, I don't believe. He's on the equal workers, and he only just gets the wall back up. Oracle out as well. And there's no chance for any sort of a counterattack across the map. There's no pylons, there's no gateways across the map. This is it. If he can't hold him, start to push Solar back, this is going to be game, I think. Another pylon's about to fall as well. It's going down, and the Lings are allowed to get back in the mineral line here. Going to take down one. Just that one probe going down here, but it makes all the difference.
And also because there's no cyber core, you actually can't even get any shield batteries at this stage, so you can't have anything to keep the probes alive for, but even that zealot.
Absolutely not. I'd be thinking of getting another Void Ray, start pushing this back. But in the meantime, Spore Crawlers are going down here, so there's no real way of pushing back with air units here. A lot of Zealots might be in order here, but for now, I think Solar is just going to try and macro his way out of this, droning apart 6 drones at a time. Whereas Phoenix is going to be left in the dust very, very shortly in terms of economy, if he's not careful.
I think you probably should send this Oracle across the map, because he's not really going to do much with that at home. And you can just get quite a bit of damage, because he's only, okay, the Spore Crawler does start, and then it might actually be a good choice to leave it at home.
I think so, yeah. The Spore Crawler is going to make all the difference at home. If the Spore Crawler and a Queen will easily take down an Oracle without making it do any damage at all, really. So we are going to be seeing a Twilight Council, possibly a DT Shrine, are you thinking, afterwards? No, we're just going to see Charge.
Yeah, Charge, yeah. I think it's probably the best option. I feel a DT Shrine is a bit of a Hail Mary play. And also because there's really Spore Crawler in the main base as well, I'm sure he'll put a Spore Crawler in his natural, that his Zerg will have detection for that, so the charge is the better option.
But when you're in a situation like this, taking big risks, I feel, is the better option. Possibly going for those DTs, but a heavy charge lot play, since you only really have a mineral income when you're on one base, you don't have too many gases, nothing that can really sustain heavy gas units, so you're probably right in saying Zealots are probably the best option. Queen's just jumping up the ramp here, trying to get as much damage as possible done, but I'm not sure how much they'll get done. They constantly have to transfuse, only just saving each other's lives here. But now with the shield battery drained, and it's the Queen with all the energy on the front there, not able to do any of the transfusers.
But I suppose now, because the Oracle and the Void Ray are both damaged, they can't really go in to get rid of the rest of those Lings and Queens at the moment, and he might just break through once again.
I think so, and Solar looking poised to take game number 2 here as well. This could be a very, very quick 3-0, possibly into a 4-0, as one of the players can revive after all of the players are down, but here comes a last-ditch effort. Zealots coming out, breaking through the wall as Lings here. Another charge finds its way open. Doesn't take on the counter-attack. He doesn't take down the Spore Crawlers that are ahead of the Spine Crawlers. If he took down the Spore Crawlers, he could use the air units to take down the Spine Crawlers in the back. Instead, he's going to use probes to attack. Always the best option. Walling his probes out as well.
I think he wants to get rid of these probes just because he's oversaturated. He'll be oversaturated in the main base, and there's almost no need for them at this stage, because he will be on one base for a long time, even if he manages to clean up this, because he still has to clean up all this creep.
That's a good point, but a Warp Prism and ferrying over could be an option as well, maybe into the normal third, maybe in the far right hand corner. 3 o'clock position.
Very possible.
Because it's definitely something that Solar has not actually scouted. And I believe we are going to see Phoenix Tears just ferry over units. Now he's just going to go for one big air assault here. Oracles, Void Rays, Warp Prisms loaded with Zealots are in tow here. Pros suiciding themselves to free up supply, free up space in the main base here as his base is actually getting mined out here. There's only on 4 more mineral patches left. If you can't make something happen now, it's just going to be mined out.
Yeah, all Solar has to do is hold Phoenix's push, and then I think this game is over.
I think so, in fact, yes. The last of Phoenix's army is getting cleaned up here. Banelings needs to get the splits down on these Zealots a little bit too late, and Solo is going to take game number 2, bringing Team Zerg to a 2-0 lead. Very well played by Solar. Interesting play there. Unfortunately, Phoenix couldn't quite hold on. He couldn't quite do his best there. He scouted and everything. He wasn't blindsided at all. He just didn't react quick enough or properly.
I
Which is
think
rather
he probably
unfortunate.
was expecting roaches as opposed to spikers. I think that is the more common follow-up, and that takes slightly longer to get them out, as well as the Void Ray does very well against the roaches.
So I wonder who is going to be the next player from Team Protoss. Their last player they can play before they have to play their ace player, revive him from the dead. I wonder, we are just waiting here. Let's take a quick look at the results here. So we will have Solar playing match number 3 on Catalyst, it'll be. But to get there, he had to take down Phoenix Tears on Acid Plant and Xenodactyl on Backwater. So far, Solar opting could go for the all kill here. If he wins this single match left, he will get the all kill. But we will be on NA for the next match. So I wonder, who are we going to be up against here? Solar. Who will you be playing?
If I remember correctly, Poison's the 3rd Protoss player.
We can take a quick look, actually. So let's have a quick look back at the teams here. So for Team Protoss, we have Phoenix Tears, Poison, and Xenodactyl with no substitute. So yeah, you are right. Poison will be the 3rd player, the final player here. And on Team Zerg, we also had Stormcrow and Zabubi as the other two. Yes, it is funny every time I say that. To be honest, I didn't even hold back any laughs. It's just gone that ingrained in my head that Zabubi is not a funny name. I don't like. Oh. What else do you call it? There's no other real like pronunciations at all.
No.
Oh, whoops.
That is the right pronunciation.
Pronunciation? Pronunciation?
God damn it.
Pronunciation.
I've had enough of that. I'm finished with school, leave me alone.
Well, now you started uni, so that's also school.
Yeah, but I don't have to be specific with the way I pronunciate words.
Thank you.
Yeah. Stupid Brit.
That's what I'm here for. Anyway, so yes, you're right. It will be Poison versus Solar on Catalyst LE for game number 3. If Solar can take this, he will get the all kill. But he will have to face off against one more Protoss player in a repeat match. However, we'll have to first see what Poison can bring to the table here against Solar. So we're all getting ourselves loaded into game number 3 here. The final player of Team Protoss will be facing off against the All-Killer himself, Solar. And I wonder, what are your thoughts on PvZ on Catalyst, the Catastrat map? We could see anything, Phoenix. Phoenix? Lord.
Yeah.
I'm calling you by your brother now. I'm thinking of his name and everything like that.
Yeah. Good job, Holt.
Good job, yeah. See, this is how rusty I am. I can't even get words right in my own head.
English is hard though, like I will admit that.
It is rather hard. Even for an Englishman. Ready though. Soon we shall get ourselves loaded into the game, and we shall get right on the way with yet again game number 3, as I've said about 4 or 5 times now. Lord, have you been keeping count?
No, I haven't bothered to keep count.
No, nor have I. I'm sure someone in the chat has been bothered to keep count of, though.
Yeah, probably Sushi has, knowing him.
I can imagine so. And we do find ourselves in game now. Let me get ourselves set up very shortly here. And we shall get ourselves in game here for game number 3. And spawning down in the bottom right hand corner, representing Team Zerg and himself. He is his pink Zerg. Up 2-0. He is Solar.
In the top left, in the purple, representing Team Protoss as well as Southstorm Gaming, she is Poison.
So Poison was the 3rd player to qualify. Xenodactyl just behind her. He lost in the series to her. But since there was no substitute player, he moved up into the player rankings. In that PvP fest that we had last night. An absolute nightmare. That was...
It's just... I don't even think a lot of Protossers know what they're doing in PvP.
Xenodactyl's one of them. He just went cannon rushes every game.
Yeah. It's like the one time for Proxy Tempers we caused a best of 5 PvP. And it just seemed like they had no idea what they're doing. They were just like throwing units at each other until the other died.
Well, that's basically me playing an off race, to be honest.
Oh yeah, that pretty much is.
Or me playing StarCraft even. It's like, I just want to kill you. I'm throwing units at you. Die, please.
And then there's no macro behind it.
Not
and
at
no
all.
ghost either.
So we're going to see a very, very quick 3 bases out of Solar here. The 3rd hatch being halfway done at the same time as Solar's natural is completed. Spawning pool only just halfway finished now. So any sort of aggression or defense is going to be latent. It looks like Poison's going to pick up on this, and she's going to go for a proxy pylon by the looks of it. Possibly into proxy Stargate. I think is the most common, at least. Maybe into proxy DTs, if you want to be a bit more like Xenodactyl. That sort of approach.
I know Poison is very well known for her DT, so it's very possible she will, but I think it is a bit of an early pylon if you're going to go for the DTs, but she could also be proxying the Twilight Council as well.
I think so. A lot of people do like to proxy the Twilight Council as well, because when they see the Twilight Council, they expect something to be researched, especially when it's first going down. So if you just remove any scouting of that Twilight Council, you can go for the DT Shrine and not have to research anything. You can save the gas for units, for even DT Blink if you want to be that adventurous.
I mean, I've seen it work, like, it can.
I mean, it can work back in the early Legacy of the Void days when we had players like Nightmare, I think it was. A well-named player, when he'd just go Zealot DT and just sort of sandwich an army with a DT Blink. I've never heard of Observer lag, but sure. I think it might just be Miguel lagging there.
That's possible.
because we don't actually need to interact with the game at all. Go ahead, try and pronounce that, Lord.
No.
I don't know French either. Like, there's a lot of French in-jokes going on in that like interview. It's like, I'm just saying, like, I barely understand what they're saying.
Well, Poison is going for the DT shrine. I don't think Solar's going to see the Twilight Council, so he's not going to know that's even the tech.
Yeah, definitely not. And we are going to see Dark Shrine, yeah, as you do say.
Solar is getting a lair, and it's finishing very soon, so he will be able to get those overseas. So it shouldn't be doing too much damage, but if he doesn't react in time, then it can do a lot.
I think so, yeah, you're right. But the drone count is still rather low here for Solar, I believe.
Well, he's making 12 more drones.
That's something I did not actually see, no. Tunnel vision when you're observing. That's kind of unheard of.
Yeah, I haven't heard that before.
Both of us are a little out of shape today, aren't we? But we are going to have the first round of DTs being warped in here. Going to be heading their way towards the third base soon enough. Spore Crawler going down here in a decent position, but there's not much in the way of an army to actually defend against this. About 4 roaches coming out, but not really enough to deal with these DTs.
Also, the one thing is not really any creep space for Solar, so he can't even like bring his queens over to position if he wanted to.
Not at all, no. The roaches do get a little bit of a pot shot off on this single DT, but nothing's in position to deal with these DTs in the natural and in the third base here. The third base queen is going to get taken down very shortly, and so is an extractor in the natural here. It's all looking good here for Solar as everything is getting cleaned up, nearly losing a spawning pool, but alas, not quite. Was it the I think Carling was like close, but not quite. Carling was the promotional sort of slogan they had a while ago, and it just completely usurped. What was it? It's like, is it close, not quite biscuit? I don't remember. It's just been completely
Close but no
replaced.
cigar.
Close but no cigar. It's been completely replaced by Carling. It's a damn good advertising campaign. Close, but not quite Carling. Newest sponsor of the JSL. I kid. We don't want to be getting kids to be drinking Carling at a young age. Drink Carling. It's the best thing for StarCraft. Although I'm going to stop now. I am honestly going to stop now. Before I get told off quite heavily.
Yeah.
And we are going to have Archons. A nice composition being built up here for Poison with Archons. There's going to be Charge Loss as well. With a couple Sentries as well. Once this gets into a large round with that third base income, this will be quite a formidable force.
Yeah, I think as much as Poison didn't really do that much damage in terms of drones, she still did force out a few more units than Solar wanted at this stage. So then it's kind of indirect damage in the end.
I think so, yeah. She's forced Solar to build a rather large army here. However, that might be for a completely different reason, as if he might actually opt to move across the map. Now he's got his 60 drones here on 3 bases. It's got a 4th down, but it doesn't look like he's opting to try and saturate it. He might just look to overwhelm his opponent here. He had 3 times the army supply here, with the upgrade advantage in hand as well, so I'd be rather worried if I was Poison right now. This army is not looking up to scratch to try and deal with what Solar has. Marching across the map, it's looking like this could be a very quick game number 3 if Poison is not careful at all. There's no chance for any DT shenanigans either, since we do have the Overseer here and not much in the way of anti-air. We're going to have to see an absolute sublime engagement here by Poison to even see her stand a chance. She's still 1/3 the army supply here of Solar.
And also, there's no shield batteries that she can use to fall back on if she needs to. And it's just become very difficult to gauge. Roaches aren't the best in terms of supply. When it's this kind of army, I think it becomes very difficult.
Beautiful biles there, taking down the force fields there, preventing a lot of the army. Not quite doing it again, but the DTs are in the fray here. No more Overseer here, and these DTs are getting work done in the middle of Solar's lines. However, I still think there is far too much here. A recall going down on all these process, saving as much as possible. Including, I think there was a DT that got recalled as well. More and more DTs getting work done on these roaches here, and actually forcing Solar away with a much smaller army. But alas, she still did lose that base.
She does have the one in the top right, and she took out of one of Solar's bases, so she's not out of this game just yet, but she still doesn't really have an army to contend with what Solar has. I mean, just look at these supply.
Look at this supply. As I'm sure the French cast are saying quite a lot. In favour of their good friend Todd. Target fire going down, shift queuing on each of these archers to make sure they all go down in short fashion, as they are rather tanky units. But here comes Solar, is knocking on the front door, and it's looking like nobody's home. There is no army here in tow, and it doesn't even look like Poison wants to try and defend this. She's sort of making a move to try and defend the third, but only now does she try and defend the natural. But I think it's going to be too little too late, as this army is massive and causing absolute rampage through Poison's main. I'm not sure what the steps are here for Poison now. She's trying to go for maybe a base trade here, but I don't think the DPS is high enough. Splitting his army in half, Solar is trying to go and deal with it, and I think it will actually be enough. Catching the Archons off guard here without the Zealot support, taking down a large bunch of the damage there of these all Poison's army, and I think this might very surely be GG as the main Nexus does go down. The Templar Archives are going down, gateways are falling, and so many probes. We're up to 40 probes falling now, and charge lots running away. Actually going instead for the final stand, and there is a GG. Solar will get the all kill on Team Protoss, but it's not over just yet. Solar will still need to play one more match, play the ace match against a revived Protoss player. So here we are, we're going to have Miguel fill in the brackets there very shortly. So we're going to have a player revived as Miguel is correctly put into the brackets. I wonder who is Phoenix Tears going to try and revive here, as no one seemed to stand any form of a chance against the might of Solar here. Who do you think will be the best pick watching the games that we just have?
I think it's very different. I mean, if you look at it, Tino probably went for the longest time, but at the same time, he probably had the best counter to what Solar was doing with that link drops. But I think Phoenix might back himself in this, just because I think his PvZ is quite strong, and if he doesn't die to the hatch first, I mean the proxy hatch this time, maybe he can pull it out.
I think so. I think Solar did his research rather well, actually choosing the better macro player in the team. And taking him down that way, taking him down in his weakness, because if you took Phoenix to a macro game, you and I both know that Phoenix would stand very easily toe-to-toe with him, unlike the other two, Poison and Xenodactyl.
Yeah, Phoenix's macro at times can even be Diamond 1 levels, like, especially even with his Protoss, which is his so-called weakest race, but it's not that much weaker than his Zerg. Maybe his Terran's slightly better though.
I'm not sure, but he is playing Protoss here, so whether he made a good or a bad choice, we'll have to find out in hindsight, which is, of course, in 2020. So let's see. So let's have a quick recap over the teams that we'll be playing here. So this Protoss team will be captained by Phoenix Tears, who played in game number 2. Xenodactyl, the other player, playing in game number 1, also losing. And Poison, who we just watched, also losing. They have a choice of one player to revive in a single map that will be on a biogenesis against Solar to try and bring it back in a reverse all kill, taking down 4 opponents in a row. Can they do that?
To start that off on abiogenesis is rough.
Yeah, this is quite a good map for rushes. It's a bit harder to defend once you get onto that 3 bases. It's very spread out, and it's a bit more of a disjointed sort of base layout, should I say?
Yeah. Right. I think if this was the Terrans needing to come back, this would be a perfect map for them to come back on. But I think for Protoss, it's probably the worst map for.
I think so. So we're going to be giving the Team Protoss a good 5 minutes here for them to decide their ace player. And I think in the meantime, I'm going to grab a glass of water. You do what you need, Lord, and we'll see you back here in a couple minutes. We'll get ourselves introduced for our next match, I'm sure. We'll see you then. I wonder, do we have you back then, Lord?
You do have me.
You do have me back. Awesome, so I'm going to lower the music a little bit. And we will be getting into our final, possibly our final match. which will be between Solar and Phoenix tiers. Let's have a quick look here. On a Biogenesis, could be another map for a proxy, could work. However, I'm hoping for more of a macro game, so we want to see how Phoenix tiers will do in a macro game versus a Zerg. Miguel truly being a biased Psyx player here in the chat, which I don't fault him for, as both of us are Psyx as well. We might as well, rather than say it's run by a JSL, it's run by a Psyx tonight.
Psyx are taking over.
Psyx taking over, taking out everyone, gobbling up clans by the dozen. We're like the EA of clans. But we're actually goodwilled and we actually do stuff right.
Yeah.
He says when he does.
None of that stupid pay to win things.
Won't do pay to wins. We'll do. Actually, no. We will do pay to wins. We will do pay to wins. However, we do find ourselves in game right now. I believe I've got the sound on. No, we don't. We now have the sound on. So we do have our players in game, and this is completely disorganized. How could you let me do this, Lord? How dare you? I don't know.
You're the British one. You should be more organized.
I'm not even going to comment on that. I'm not going to compare South Africa. I'm not going to compare it to South Africa. We are now in game, and we do have our players spawning in. So without further ado, spawning down in the bottom right-hand corner, representing Sonic Aftermath himself and Team Protoss, their last-ditch effort. He is Phoenix Tears.
In the top left, in the pink, representing himself and Team Zerg, already up 3-0, looking for the ore kill. He is Solar.
He's already got the ore kill, hasn't he? He's got the ore kill, but he's going to do it like just to confirm. It's like
Is
when
it really though.
It's like Windows does like a dialogue box. It's like, are you sure you want to all kill Team Protoss? Yes, please. This is that match. It's
so.
pressing the yes, please.
Okay, I guess so. If you say so.
If I say so. However, we are going to be seeing a bit more of a macro game out here for Solar. He's not going to go for any sort of proxy play, which I think Phoenix is very relieved about, and that means we are going to have a good run here for Phoenix Tears. And Zella popping out, completing the wall at the front of Biogenesis here, leaving Phoenix enough room to go for his natural expansion, something he did not quite have the liberty to in the last game.
It's rather disappointing. In Phoenix's interview, he said that there would be a low pros bullshit coming out, and I haven't really seen that so far. So hopefully we'll see it.
We saw a bit of it from Poison, but it was a bit wishy-washy.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite fully committed. There was only 4 DTs, and the DTs only really made an impact when it came to the big fight, when it pushed away the actual Zerg army, which was rather impressive, to be honest.
Yeah. But not true Protoss bullshit yet.
But not true Protoss bullshit. We don't have DTs into Archon drops, 4 TT drops, and then Archon drops. You just can't beat it. I know that was very strong in, what was it, the end of last year. Well, I seem to have been completely disfavoured. However, I tell you what was also the best last year in terms of DTs and stuff. Who was it? I can't remember. I think someone, I think it was against Solar actually as well, where they actually built the DT shrine in the enemy base. Yeah, and it was on Nuka Precinct. They built it right in the corner, honestly.
I
It was-
genuinely think that was SOS.
It must have been SOS, yeah. Coming to think of who SOS is, yeah, you're probably right. And I think it was against Solar, which makes things a lot more coincidental. But we are now going to see Solar now go for his Baneling Nest. Now that lane speed is finishing up here, we could see a bit of a quick Baneling bust here before Phoenix Tears is actually ready with no Robo units out. We're only going to see charge, very quick charge out here.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see him pull off gas. I feel like he's going to go for a lot of gateways off this and go for the mass charge all in, but he's still mining gas, so that indicates more of a macro game so far.
Could very well be, although that gas might just be for sentries here. Your guess is as good as mine, to be honest, but we are just going to see Solar just planting himself in a couple lanes and just droning up hard. He's going to be a bit risky about it, but in return he will get a lot of drones, a lot of income, and a massive economical lead over Phoenix Tears if he is not careful. However, with the Robo coming down, I think you might be right, this could be a charge lot all in.
Yeah, he has pulled off gas now. He's only got one mining each gas. So I think we'll start to see, I think, go up to about 7 or 8 gateways and then just get that Warp Prism and get a lot of charge slots. And I think if you don't have enough units, then that can be very rough for Solar, even if you have Banelings.
Absolutely, and Solar's not really making much of an attempt to scout at all. He's keeping back at home. He's got a single Overlord out in front, but apart from that, there's nothing really to tell Solar what's going on in the mind of Phoenix Tears here. So he does get down 3 more gateways.
Solar's going for a Spire, and if Phoenix can't kill Solar quick enough with these charge lots, then he's going to be in a very rough position because you won't have that much gas to warp in that many Stalkers.
I think so, yeah, you're very right. There will not be much gas at all. The only gas he's got is the gases banks, which could be used for upgrades, or I think that's really be about it. He doesn't really want to go for Stalkers. It's not really his game plan here. Here we do have the big move out here of Zealots. He's going to start moving out across the map. There's going to be big war pins moving out soon. He's going to be making his way across the map here. Spire almost finishing up, 20 seconds away, and there's not much of at all of an army here. There's a couple links. The rest of his army supply is just in Queens. It does not look like Solar is ready at all. 9 Banelings forming, each and every one of those lings actually morphing into Banelings. And 7
I don't even think that's
Mutas.
enough, though. Like, it's just, as much as those are Banes, if Phoenix just has a decent amount of splits against it, then those Banes are going to do nothing. Like, I mean, it gets a few of them, but there's still so many more.
I think so. I think this could just be an outright win here, since Solar didn't actually scout anything, and there are so many Zealots being warped in here, ravaging the mineral line here of Solar in the natural base. 22 workers going down, and soon the natural will go down. The Mutalis just do not do enough DPS here to try and deny any damage from these guys, but the Broodlings and the Zerglings will help out as well and possibly clean this up completely.
But now, because Phoenix has spotted those Mutas, he can be prepared for them because he's already dropping that Forge. I wouldn't be surprised to see him warping more stuff. He's already getting the blink, so there's already a good reaction to these Mutas, and these Mutas have to do damage because as much as Phoenix is on 2 bases, it's still so is Solar, and he's equal in workers, and you don't want to be slightly ahead of the Protoss in terms of workers, especially at this stage.
I think so, but I think there might be too many Mutas here. It's only a couple Stalkers being warped in here, and I just don't think this will be enough here. Solar, I'm not sure what his game plan is. He's floating a lot of resources now, and he's just going to be droning. He's going to be trying to resaturate his bases here, rebuilding his natural. Maybe a 4th as well, but I'm not sure if that's quite on the agenda just yet. I'd be rather worried if I was Solar. But he's just going to go for the harassment. Massive Artosis pylon is going to be taken down here. That's huge. And more Stalkers are just going to be warped in. There's nothing really to deal with a Ling Flood if Solar opts to go for one.
I think with the mineral bank he has, that is very possible.
I'm not sure. I think Phoenix Tears is just completely overcompensating for these Mutalisks. He definitely has enough Stalkers to deal with this. It's just not quite attacking the correct numbers here.
And now that he's got that forge up, he needs to drop cannons in his middle line just to defend against those moves, especially against any counterattack. And then he can start to think about doing attacks of his own, especially with charge lots. And if there aren't any banelings, then we could see that mass charge lot warp in again, and that will do quite a bit of damage.
I'm thinking so as well. And finally, we are going to get the Templar Archives coming down here. So we could possibly see Archons coming out on the map. But that leaves Solar on a time limit here. If he can break down this wall, this Stalker there has just walked out of the front here. And if Solar can get these Lings inside the base of Phoenix Tears, this could all be over very, very shortly. Solar with a bit of a spell of indecision here. But Phoenix has no real sign of moving off a 2-base economy here. His main base is going to mine out rather soon here. He needs to make a move soon. Otherwise he's going to find himself completely out macro by his opponent. So I'm not actually sure what Phoenix Tears actually has planned here. He needs to go for a 3rd base, but he also needs to move out as well. He's getting the Archons out, and he just doesn't seem to have the game plan in mind. He's not going to be able to get these Archons out of this wall. He's going to have to jump them over the warp prism. I hope he realizes this. Nope, it's just going to kill it. It's just going to kill the gateway. I have a warp prism, but I'm not going to use it to bring over the Archon.
There is a bit of a time that Phoenix has, because there is the Lurker Den coming down. It's still quite a while away, and there's not that many units from Solar just yet. That if he hits at a time where there's not that many Lurkers, if at all, then he might have a chance in this game.
I think so, but there are a lot of Hydras here. Nothing really to tank for the army of Phoenix Tears here, with Zealots trapped a bit at the back here, but there's just enough DPS to take down those Hydras, and leaving this 3rd base here to be completely sacked. Stalkers blinking on top of these Mutalisks, forcing them back, and leaving this 3rd base to be completely sacked. This is not looking good for Solar at all, losing another 20 workers nearly right there. And more Archons being forced in.
I don't think Phoenix has any observers, so he would have nowhere to spot any kind of Lurkers, and the Lurker Den is finished now. Yeah, there's the first Lurkers, but I think he still has a little bit of a time that he can get in to snipe those Lurkers. I think he needs to target those down.
Oh man, if he had gone for the other base rather than the Lurkers, that would have given Solar enough time to get those Lurkers in position. But there goes the burrow, getting 2/3 of them there, and the recall does go down. But I feel like that's a mistake.
I think he needed to, because he has sniped off that base. There still is pretty even economies, and now if he can get the observer out, make sure that stays alive, then those Lurkers become kind of nullified in a way. Even though he has Stalkers, which don't do the best against it, still he's got the better army, especially with those Archons and Immortals.
I think you may be right, but this Lurker siege at the front here, starting to chip its way out at a warp gate here. Observer finally out for Phoenix Tears. Hopefully it won't get targeted down by these Hydras. Bit of indecision there coming across on Phoenix Tears, but he's going to get all of his charge loss on top of those Lurkers and start to push back the entire army of Solar. He's going to start to absolutely destroy everything with a well-formed composition that is Immortal Charge Lot Archon.
Oh, I think he's going to lose the Muse as well. That's really bad for Son. He is getting more Lurkers now, but a few of them are very exposed right in front, and I think Phoenix is just going to jump on top of them. Yeah, there's the cancel. He needed to do that. He can't afford to lose those Lurkers. It's only one production tab, but against this kind of Protoss army, it's not really going to do that well.
I don't think so, and Surprisingly, this entire game, Solar has been up in army supply, but it's never been able to leverage that advantage against Phoenix Tears, who's constantly been able to batter down his opponent's army. And also bases as well, taking down repeated bases after bases, and a pause is being called there. Right to what you could call the final moments of this game. There's very, very few units left for Phoenix across the map there. So let's cut away from the game real quick. Let's get a little bit of music on. Just while we wait for these players. So far, who do you think is coming out on top of this? I think that Phoenix is possibly going to do this, but it's running out of units. It's hemorrhaging units in this final fight.
Yeah, I think if he can get... I mean, there's 13 Hydras coming on the way. If he cuts off a lot of them, then he can be in a good position, especially with the reinforcements coming.
I think so, and we are now back in game here, where we do have some reinforcements from Phoenix Tears able to make their way through, but 16 Hydras on the way here, going to be jumping right on top of this army of Phoenix Tears. And start taking down these Archons here. The full surround off on top of this army is going to start to take it out. And GG Solar.
Wow.
Wow, I'm actually really surprised by that. Solar is going to take the 4-0.
Wow.
Wait. What prompted it to GG though? I'm a little confused by that.
I don't think he had much mining left in his main and natural. I think he was just oversaturated.
That's fair enough, I can agree, because he had no plans for a third base there. He didn't. His whole game plan revolved around that charge slot winning in the game. It did delay the defeat quite a lot, but it was a very, very close game there. At no point was it ever an easy victory for Solar, and at no point could you even call it either way.
Yeah, it was very well played, I think, from both players. And then a little bit of indecision, I think, from Phoenix when he went to take down his lurkers. I think he went in and then lost quite a lot of shields when he probably shouldn't have.
I think so, yeah, but that does mean that Solar will get the full-on confirmed all-kill there, taking down Phoenix Tears twice as well.
Yeah.
Poor Protoss getting the back end of the last balance patch, should I say. But I believe we will be seeing a PVT as our next round here.
Yeah, and I'll have to be leaving you for that, unfortunately.
That's no worries at all, man. It's been a pleasure casting with you.
Yeah, at least it's something at least. Yeah, enjoy, and hopefully there won't be too much balance warning coming from you in terms of PvT. Cheers, man.
Cheers. I'll see you in a bit. You enjoy. So it will just be for me for the rest of the tournament now. Phoenix Tears. I thought it's over for us for the entire tournament, but clearly not. So our next series will be a Terran versus Protoss here, which can have the captains. Oh, in fact, we'll have a Terran versus Protoss interview. That's what it's going to be. I understand now. I understand how they're working this. Oh my god. But that was quite a fun series, despite the fact it was just a 4-0 clean sweep by Solar. I think it was a good series. There was some interesting plays there. Poison had a good game. She tried her best with the DTs. Xenodactyl, unfortunately, just lost to the macro power of Solar. Phoenix Tears game 1, lost to the Cheese. It was a nice, interesting long game. He tried his best. However, he couldn't quite pull it off. But in Phoenix's game 2, the last game that we just watched, it was a really, really close one. The last chance that Team Protoss had to bring it back and just missed it by a small step, which was a massive shame, to be fairly honest.